Where is the water coming from? Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Garage Story. So behind me here is a frost-free water hydrant. They're called something like that. Anyway, mine's been leaking and I want to get it fixed. I started digging this thing up, thinking I would have to replace it. Then I found out that you can do adjustments on them. I tried those adjustments, they didn't work. So long story short, when I have it on, a bunch of water is coming out my weep hole, which is right down here. You have a little weep hole, which is why they're frost-free. You turn it off and all the water can drain out of this pipe out that weep hole. But when it's on, there shouldn't be water coming out of that weep hole. It sounds like my plunger inside here is worn out and is not doing what it needs to do. Other than that, the faucet's just kind of leaky, a little hard to shut off. Replacing it is an option, but I didn't really want to have to take apart the plumbing down there because, I don't know, I just don't like messing with plumbing any more than I have to. So I wanted to try a rebuild kit first. So I went online, found a rebuild kit from the manufacturer, which I have right here from Simmons, because it is a Simmons hydrant. Now, I pretty much just need to bail all the water out of this hole that kind of leaks in there over time and see if I can get this thing apart. It's gonna be tough because the top on here is so large. But I've got a pipe wrench that'll fit on there. I don't have a crescent that big, unfortunately. But I am a little concerned that just flexing it around, trying to take it apart, may break the piping down below. And if that's the case, then I will have to replace the piping down there. So when I was digging this up, I found this weird cap next to it. It's like that bucket was on top of that pipe, which made it look kind of like a pot because it had like the larger rim and then it got narrower down below. And the whole thing was buried, and I was just digging around it, and then finally decided I needed more space, so I tried to dig it out and found out what it was. And the pipe was mostly hollow with some dirt in the bottom, which I just thought was kind of weird. I thought maybe this was how they watered some of the plants. They just put water down there and it goes down to the root system. And eventually I tried to dig some of the dirt out of there, which is kind of a pain because it's so deep. It turned out there was a shutoff valve in there, and the handle broke off, or was already broken off. So I can't shut off the water there, but it would not really be a bad thing to replace all this plumbing. I just don't really want to mess with it if I don't have to. Unfortunately, with no shutoff valve there and no clear idea of what's going on in my well house and good shutoff valves there, I'm basically just going to turn off my well at the breaker, drain all the water out, and then see if I can take apart this faucet and put in the new parts. And hopefully that works. It just occurred to me that this bush is going to be a little bit in the way, because I'm going to have to pull that stuff straight out the top. It never seems like a good time to work on this because it never seems like a great time for the house to be without water. If I do it at night and I have issues, then I can't buy parts to fix it. So this is relatively early morning. I took the day off. Hopefully we don't need all day to fix this. So let's take a look at the parts that come with this thing. Got a bunch of O-rings. I forgot what you call that. Here's the critical part I need, is this plunger. This plunger is threaded into the rod that goes up and down inside this pipe. We don't want that to become unthreaded, and we don't want this to get stuck in the bottom. And apparently that can happen. Here we go. Here's my packing nut that the rod goes through. These are the O-rings for the rod. That should help with the leaking up at the top. But basically all these parts here are these parts right here. There's your packing nut, there's that other brass thing, and then you got your set screw, and then you got those two longer connecting pieces there. And then the rod comes down here and the plunger is inside here. I think I've delayed enough. I probably need to go ahead and dive into this project. All right, water is off, and water's already started seeping back into the hole, but I need to hook up one of my hoses and drain all the water out of the system. This is my only outside faucet that's easily accessible, and that's gonna put even more water in the hole. So I'll hook up a hose, try to drain all the water out of the system, and then I'll bail water out of the hole again. Then we can actually get to work. All right, I think it's time to go ahead and start seeing if I can get the wrenches to fit on there, see what the odds of getting this broken out are. I say broken free. If it doesn't work, I may just have to dig out more, remove more water, and replace the entire faucet. I think I'm gonna get some duct tape and tape these wrenches in so I don't have to worry about them falling out. I don't need like a ton, I just don't want it to come sliding out of here. Man, the solid conduit works so well as a cheater bar, and this one I used packing tape and put a paint scraper on here a long time ago, and I use this to clean out the underside of my mower decks, and I use it as a cheater bar for almost everything. Just be careful you don't cut yourself on this when you're using it as a cheater bar. Let's get rolling again. Ah, gracious. Gracious. Ow, ow, ow. Arm cramp. Oh. I strained a funny muscle I didn't know I had. Well, I don't think about it anyway. So can I put more effort on this without risking breaking everything all of a sudden when something pops free? Wow. I'm a little concerned about spraying penetrating oil in there because I don't want to contaminate my water. All right, I seem to be running out of options for getting this off, so I'm going to try this. Even though I didn't want to. I think we're going to be replacing this. All right, let that soak for a minute. See if we can get this out again. Do I just need longer cheater bars? All right, so I've done a couple of things here. One is I put a C-clamp on here to hold the pipe to the T-post. That way, hopefully the pipe will stop spinning around and while it's rubbing against the T-post. I guess what I mean is my hope is that'll make the whole assembly a little more stable, because before you could hear the pipe creaking as it skidded by the T-post. The second thing I did was I got longer cheater bars. I've got 2 full jack handles now on these. This is like a full, like a, I don't know, regular car jack. This one is only a 1.5 ton, 3,000 pound jack handle, so it's not quite as long. I think that's about the best I'm gonna be doing here. I have another jack handle, but I can't get the grip off to use it. So we're gonna try these. It's a balance, because at some point, if I'm gonna need to replace everything, I need to abort while I have time to still do that. There she goes. There she goes. Wow. We've got it semi-broken free. I'm gonna double check. I think I'm supposed to disconnect some of the stuff at the top because I don't want to unscrew this rod from the plunger. So that would not be good. That's kind of exciting. Enough leverage and you can do it. Just give me but a place to stand and a long enough lever and I can move the earth. Yeah, it was Archimedes, right? Something like that. All right, so I went back and looked at the video on how to do this, and it turns out I was so eager and focused on being able to unscrew that I forgot there's some other steps I should have taken. Hopefully that doesn't ruin this project for me. That would be a bummer, because now it is free. Anyway, I'm supposed to ratchet the inner rod up out of the way by loosening the nut, putting the handle down, tightening it, pulling it up, and kind of repeating the process to pull the rod up as far as I can to where the handle won't shut anymore, then loosen the packing nut. And what that does is it pulls the plunger out of the valve body, which could be something that was preventing it from trying to loosen up. I don't know. It also definitely keeps you from unscrewing that plunger. I may try to tighten this back just a little bit and then go through those steps. Packing nut's not coming out. Rats. I'm sure that's real good for these ratcheting ends. I am just rounding off that nut, even though I think it's the correct size. It's just so tight. No, it's coming. That was a bear to replace, or to get out. Wow, another success. All right, I think now we're ready to try to remove the top. Finally. Time to watch the next steps in the video. So it looks like it's supposed to just come off of there now. Mine has not. So I just need to keep working at it. Oh, there we go. Separation. I'm trying to get it kind of off of the rod. This is effectively trying to screw the rod back into the plunger. I have to get a hammer and tap this thing upwards. Try to get this all apart. There she goes. And now this rod just needs to come out. Yeah, I need to trim back this bush. supposed to grab it down there with the vice grips. There we go. We got it. That thing is totally worn out. Let me show you the new one for comparison. So here's the new one. Here's the old one. We're missing the tip. The whole tip is gone. No wonder it wouldn't seal. Just need a new one of these. Let's see. Well, I'll go watch that video again and see about how to replace the rest of this. I wish I could turn the water on and flush everything out of there, but that'd be a humongous pain and mess. All right, I watched the video. I think the next things I'm gonna try to do is clean up this rod, which I should have done while it was still damp. Let's see if I can wipe off any of this rod. The answer is no, I can't. It's worth a shot. I need to clean up this end here because I got some burrs on there from my thoughtlessness and thinking I was so smart, so I need to sand those down. And I'll probably sand down the other ones too. Once I sand those gouges down, then I will try to swap out the plunger. I hope I can get that off. If I can't get that off, we're again stuck. But I think I have another faucet I could steal the rod out of if I have to. Yeah, I think I need to sand down this whole thing. This rod here is actually getting a little shallower in the middle. It's possible I need to replace this extension, but I don't have one. Unless I take one from the old faucet, the other old faucet I do have. Well, I think that's gonna have to be good enough. So now I'm supposed to put my vice grips on this end and my wrench on the other end and unscrew this so we can grab on this little section right there. Ah, gracious, I'm not that tall. Got it, haha. Whew, that's kind of hard to do. That'd be hard for somebody who didn't have long arms. All right, I got that off. Now it's time for the reassembly. Yeah, there you have it. My gracious. No wonder it was leaking. Well, let's put the new one on. But you can kind of see what can happen is this whole thing can come unscrewed in the faucet, and then this will be stuck down at the bottom. And that can be a pain. Sometimes people turn the water on to pop them out. Somebody said they did that. Thankfully, I didn't have to. Time to throw this back down into the hydrant. I think that's about where it was before. I think I actually had a little bit of the nut sticking out. Can't remember. We'll find out shortly. Now it's time to rebuild the actual head with all the new parts. And you can kind of see, it's already partially disassembled, but what you can't see very well is back in here are some O-rings. And basically, this packing nut just screws down against those O-rings. I need to go ahead and get my other crescent and take this off. Here are the new parts. New of these things, new packing nut, new bushing or whatever you call that, new locker. And we got 3 O-rings in this package, which I don't think we'll need all 3. Let's get these O-rings out of here. All right, that one too. Check the depth of these O-rings and see if I need all 3 to keep the same depth. And sometimes it sounds like there's 2 and sometimes there's 3. So if I do that, you can see there is an overall difference in thickness. But if I just go with 2, I feel like that's gonna be too thin. So do old ones swell up or do they shrink? My packing nut was tightened down about as far as it could go. So I think I'm gonna go with 3 so I have a little more space to tighten it down. All right, this looks about right. See, there's 3 in there. The bottom one is the only one that looks slightly out of round. I don't know if, hopefully it's not an issue. We'll see. Now we've got our brand new packing nut to put on there. There you have it. The head has been reassembled. All right, it's time to actually put the head back on there. So let's see if we can do it without dropping any parts, because they're kind of loose sitting in the head. Supposedly there's some lubricant in those packages, so I'll see if I can find any that I can rub on the top of this rod here, which is what you're supposed to do, so that the O-rings slide over. If not, I'll probably just do it dry. Yeah, I don't think that's any lubricant in there. All right, do not drop the parts. Okay, so now we need to put the pipe wrenches on and spin it all the way around, if we can. It says to tighten on until you can't tighten any further. That's definitely not where it started. So I don't know if I need to go a whole nother lap around or not. I'm concerned I didn't get the plunger down far enough. I can't get this handle down all the way. I think the only thing left now would be to try it. We got the same issue happening down there. I don't think I'm seated all the way in. Okay, I think I'm gonna need to unscrew this and hammer that rod down farther. All right, so where are we at? What's going on? I could not get it to stop leaking. Well, it's almost worse than before in the sense that I could not find a spot that shut off the faucet. That's annoying. I kept trying to adjust it. The rod seemed like it was rubbing into the handle, so maybe I didn't get the rod down far enough, but even if I had hammered it down far enough, how would it have moved freely? I don't know. So I tried turning the nozzle back facing this way because I thought maybe I'd screwed it on too far, which would make the rod a little bit stick up a little farther. Didn't really make much difference. So I decided to pull it off, and then I basically made a fish tape out of wire and ran it down there. Let me show you. I took this wire here and made a fish tape, basically. I think that's what they're called for electrician stuff. And I just ran it down there and kept rubbing it around in there, spinning it around, trying to see if I could clean anything out of there. So I used it with a straight end first, and then I tried various hooks. This is the second hook. Not a whole lot's happened. Here is the plunger. It got a little dirty, as you can see. So there's definitely dirt down there. I tried looking down the shaft with my flashlight. There's water in the bottom, not surprising. I also did end up having to bail this hole out again, but now there's still more water in there. Water is off now, obviously. So that brings us to right now, which is I want to turn the water on and see if it can flush anything out of there, but that's gonna be a geyser. So you'll get to see it while I go around and turn on the water. Not as much of a geyser as I thought it would be. Well, that was fun. Now I guess I need to try to put this thing back together. Yeah, you can tell the new marks right here. They're lower down than the original marks over here on this side. Yeah, new marks, old marks. So it was not down in as far as it had been, for sure. Was that the source of our problem? I don't know. You can see the spiral marks on there. I don't know if you can. There should be spiral right up in here. And that's from having this set screw in too far when I was screwing this on, so it just spiraled around as I screwed it on. Whoops. Definitely didn't get it in as far as it had been. But I'm not sure why I couldn't force it down with the handle. I'm gonna spiral marks a little bit. Now that the water's out of there, let's try to dig out some of that mud and see if we can get down back to that drain port hole so that any water in there can drain out. Wouldn't it be funny if water in the pipe was the issue, is why I couldn't get it down far enough? I don't know if that makes sense or not, but we'll see. All right, I'm hitting the other plumbing and I'm below the weep hole, so it's time to try to get this rod back in a little bit. Gotta get that coupling down in there. Doesn't feel like it's going down in a lot farther. It's going down in farther now. Hopefully a good thing. Yeah, I think we're fighting mud. Tip seems to be pretty durable. I think we're breaking whatever it is out of there. All right, I think we should try it. All right, that feels right, which I'm excited about. So let's go turn the water on and see what happens. It's slipping out on the shaft. It's crazy. All right, I think I'm licked. I think I've gone as far as I can go with this faucet and trying to fix it and work on it. So unfortunately, I think that means we're gonna have to install a new one. And interestingly, I was talking to a friend about this project just briefly, and he said something about that he's never been able to successfully rebuild an old hydrant, and that, you know, it'd probably be best just to install a new shutoff valve and hydrant and whatnot. But I didn't really want to have to cut into my water line, so I wanted to do this first. But at the end of the day, I've been working on this for like 6 hours now, and we weren't successful. So I probably should have gone with his advice, but you never know. Sometimes you have to learn things the hard way. If I'd gone that route, I probably could have had all this dug out by now and hopefully gotten the supplies I needed. I don't know if I would have been able to get it swapped out today, but anyway, that's what I need to do now. I need to move on. So my next course of action is going to be to remove all the water I can out of this hole, dig out more dirt, figure out what type of plumbing lines we've got here, what size they are, what all's going on here. Then I want to go to town and purchase more plumbing parts. That would be amazing if I could get all that done today. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, but I took off today. Today's Friday, tomorrow's Saturday. If I can get the new stuff in on Saturday, that would be great. Let's do what we can. I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting kind of tired. It's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I've been at it since around 8 this morning. I don't normally do this. I skipped breakfast. I did eat lunch, so I had an hour break. Can't stop, gotta go, get this done. All right, we got a bunch of dirt dug out of there. You see the pile behind me. Well, it was a lot to me, felt like a lot. It's really hard to dig over a wall. So what we are dealing with here is I dug down this section out over here and I found a power line right there. I don't know why I have a power line right here. But that's another reason not to be using the backhoe. The hydrant comes in over here. We got elbow to PVC. And then it looks like we thread over to a connector that is that goes to a hose clamp on black irrigation tubing. Then we've got a T here. I don't know where that goes. I don't know if that's coming in or going out. Same with the other side. And this goes over into the pipe here, which is a makeshift access point for the shutoff valve, which is no longer in service. I don't know if the water comes out from the house or is going into the house, because my well is over there, so I could see it both ways. I would kind of hope they would have used PVC to run into the house instead of black irrigation. Regardless, I just need to double check the sizes of the piping. It's probably standard pipe. I don't remember what size that would be, but 1.5 inch or something like that. I need to run to town, get a new hydrant, and all the pieces I think I'm going to replace down here. I'm probably not going to replace all of the black landscape tubing, but I also have to realize that it may start leaking, so I don't know, I may need to cut it back. I think that's it for today. Hopefully I can go get the parts I need and be ready to start back at this in the morning. Good morning. All right, it is a new day here. It's Saturday. Let's see if we can get this thing fixed up today. I've got a plan, and I think it's a hopefully good plan. So I went to Lowe's, and you know, when you go to Lowe's, it's like I have a pretty good idea what I need to do. When I get there, I'll figure it out. And then you end up spending forever trying to figure it out, trying to find the right parts. At least that's the way it seems. But I made it back, and I got a new hydrant and got a bunch of plumbing pieces and a new cutoff valve. So my plan, which I don't know why this hadn't been my plan sooner, is to try to replace that cutoff valve first and then do everything else. So that'll give me time to get everything the way I want it. And that way the house will not have to have the water turned off for as long. So my plan right now is to dig out some more dirt around this pipe right here, that access point. Basically set myself up for replacing that cutoff valve as quickly as possible. And then I can replace everything else. I've got water and electricity running straight out this way. And there is nothing straight out this way. Unless maybe at one point in time they'd plan to have a garage out here. I don't know. Alright, got dug out around the pipe enough, I think. It's loose now, so I should be able to just pull it out, and dug down a little deeper. So I've got a little bit of a well down here, so I can go down past these pipes. Oh, it's a little heavy. There we go. Yeah, maybe I need more space. I need to hollow this out more and try not to get too much dirt down the hole. Try this on for size. That's actually still a little tight. Gracious. All right, I think we got that cleared out pretty well. I'm gonna need to wash this stuff off so I can see what it is a little bit better. Because I've got another joint over here I didn't know about. I'm not sure what this is over here. I feel like we've got gray PVC coming to like a metal nipple, and then to the black irrigation, and then the cutoff valve, then black irrigation, then a T going to the hydrant, and then out to who knows where. At this point I want to introduce as little water as possible to this hole, but I do need to get this stuff cleaned off. I'll try dry cleaning first a little bit. Alright, here's the update. I haven't done anything. Actually, I've been thinking about it, and my goodness, it's hard for me to do stuff like this. There's so much figuring out, not knowing exactly what to do, how to do it. But we have a path forward, and I've already started taking action. I got all my plumbing stuff out. We cleaned up even further in here, so that's looking pretty good. And we determined that that is metal coming out of the house over there. So I will be threading in this piece here, and I already glued this joint here, so that's good. So basically I need to turn off the water, use those wrenches to get that joint apart in the metal. Yeah, it's right there. I want to get that threaded joint apart. Then I can throw the PVC part in there, and then I can shove the ball valve section in there and glue it. So basically this will get threaded in there, and then we'll just glue this and put it in there and twist it and get that facing straight up. And then we can turn the water back on and see if it works. Right now the water is on. I need to go ahead and turn it off and drain everything out. I'm hoping if I run this hose far enough down the hill, it will siphon most of the water out of the system, because I don't want to have a bunch of water down here in the hole when I cut that open. I feel like when I cut that open, it's going to drain out all the water from the house, which would be more water than I would like, but kind of messy. And then I'll have to go back to the store probably and get some more parts, because I didn't know I'd be using my threaded pieces to go into the house, so I didn't have enough threaded pieces. And I misread the box for the new hydrant. I thought this was going to have a male thread coming out, and it's a female, so I'm definitely short on the threaded parts. See if I can get this lower than the bottom of that hole. Alright, so while that drains, let's revisit the plan. I'm going to grab these cutters here and probably just chop through the black plastic. Yeah, so I don't have too much in the way. Man, I just feel so committed once I cut something like that though. This is the house portion, then there's the threaded PVC into the PVC section right here, then the ball valve, then another threaded adapter that I need to get, and then to PVC going to PVC-T, the PVC coming straight out here. Then I will need a threaded adapter to go into a street 90 or whatever, and then this comes straight up into the hydrant. And then I will need to cut the black plastic further back towards the retaining wall, and I'll have another PVC, just a straight section with a barb fitting on the end, and that barb fitting hopefully will fit into the old black. Okay. Okay, that is cut. All right. There's the old ball valve there. I need to unscrew this part right there. Oh gracious, that is tight. Oh, praise the Lord, came free. Oh, that's tight. It's not getting easier, really. Oh, praise the Lord. There it is. All right, we need to get that other nipple threaded in there. Okay, I think that's tight enough. All right, I capped this thing off with a sandwich bag and some duct tape to try keeping dirt out of there until later. Well, until we can cover it. It's gonna be messy trying to glue down here, and it's slightly damp. There's not really anything I can do about it being slightly damp. So we will just roll with what we got and find out what the consequences are in a little bit. If I avoid getting purple stuff on my pants, that's a win. Now I just gotta let that cure and hopefully it doesn't leak. You can definitely tell that difference of angle there. That was being taken up with the black. It was bent slightly this way, so I'll probably need a flexible joint over here to connect to the old irrigation tubing. All right, well, I'm praying that that works, and I need to go down and get some other parts and be back here, and we'll find out if it does work. My wife will probably turn it on while I'm in town, just so that we're not off, the water's not off forever, but we'll see. We'll try to give it around 2 hours to cure. All right, well, my wife turned on the water while I was gone, since it had been 2 hours, and apparently it was gushing water. I really hope it was something I did that was leaking that's not leaking out of there. If it's leaking out of the brass, then that's a major issue. Did I not screw that in part tight enough? Did it crack? Or did the glue not set up? I think it pushed the glue out. I feel a string of glue on the underside. That was probably it. Where is the water coming from? Oh, this is the water into the house, not that. I see. Can you turn it off, please? Well, it's dark. I think I've got a game plan trying to get the family taken care of, though. Because all of a sudden we're going to be out without water for longer than we anticipated. I feel like I should have maybe considered more seriously the possibility that that line coming in was the actual water line. I was just hoping that it wasn't, because I was hoping that we didn't have black tubing for our main water line. I thought it would be like PVC, and the black would just be for like outside faucets. That is what it is. I gotta get the water out of here first, because there is lots of water in here. So I gotta bail all this water out and then try to see what I can do with what I got. My plan is to obviously establish the main connection with water to the house. That shutoff valve is effectively just gonna shut off the house. And then I'm not gonna install the frost-free faucet yet. First of all, because I don't want to delay too long in getting the house up and running right now. And second of all, because I want to install a cutoff for it, and I only have one cutoff right now, which is already installed in line with the house. So what I'm thinking is, well, this is going to be coming out of the bottom of the frost-free, but I want a cutoff valve here. So I'm going to install this with a threaded plug, because that's what I have. I don't have an actual cap. Later on, I can install another valve. But the more important part is the water. This is the house over here. I've already got the cutoff valve, so I need a stub. I need another one of these coming out of the other side of that cutoff valve. Then a stub here. I'm going to come out this way. Then I will use one of these to connect to the black PVC, or to the black pipe. But now I need an over and up and down, which will just be four elbows. So one coming up, one coming over, one coming down, one coming back in. And I'm going to put that on like a telephone. So a lot of short stubs. And due to the urgency and it being dark and not knowing exactly what I'm doing, I'm not going to really film it, but hopefully I will show you the finished product or the next iteration of the product. All right, so the plumbing is in place with a cutoff valve for just the frost-free water faucet. We decided not to put a cutoff valve going to the house. That was a moment of truth to see if it leaks or not. Thank you for helping, Dad.
You're welcome.
You think it'll leak?
No, I don't think it'll leak.
All right.
I think it'll work fine.
We'll find out here shortly. Any leaks?
I don't see any drips.
All right, I think that means we're done for tonight. Okay. It's only, what time is it, 11:30?
Yeah.
All right, we got this fixed on a late Saturday night. It's now the following Monday morning. And as far as we can tell, nothing, as far as I can tell, is leaking. So now I need to pull out this old faucet, get this thing out of here, so we can get ready to put in the new one. So I need to get it out and dig out around it so I can put in a gravel base for the frost-free weep hole, I guess, to drain the water out into. This problem child. Wow. The water eroded the bottom of that weep hole. It's crazy, so much water coming out of there. No wonder I couldn't fix this thing. It's had too much leaking. I think it probably wore it out internally. Time to replace it. I am curious why the new one doesn't have a bypass on both sides. The old ones have 2 bypasses for water to come through, and the new one only has 1. Maybe it doesn't make any difference. All right, it is a new day out here. I've got a little bit of a sore throat, but we're almost to the end here. I think it's just about time to glue the final joint. So let me show you what we've done. So first of all, I dug out down here and put some gravel in here. Oh, this is my old cover to keep the dirt out of there. I put a brick there for the new faucet to sit on. I think I got the length, well, hopefully I got the distance about right. So I can reuse this old T-post, because I wasn't quite sure how exactly I would drive a T-post down right next to a new faucet. So it seemed like, well, either you put a T-post in first and then try to work up to it, or you put the T-post in second. And it just seemed easiest to try to reuse that old one. So let me show you what we got going on here with the hydrant. That end will be facing this way out of the garden. So this will connect in to my ball valve, and I added in a T that's capped off here, just in case I ever decide I want to add water somewhere out in the yard. I should be able to tunnel in under the retaining wall, get in here, cut it, and put a hub on there. I thought about doing a threaded one, but it would be longer and take up more space there, and also it's just another leak point possibly there. Also, we put our well, I couldn't find any enough 1/8 inch stuff there at Lowe's, so I ended up going from coming out with an 1/8 inch nipple. I'm doing an 1/8 to, I think, 1/8 to 1/4, I think it is, hex bushing, basically an adapter. And then I have a 1/4 inch street 90 coming down to direct the water drippings away from here. And also, really, it's to keep dirt from coming back in here. I'm hoping that I cut this to the right length, that we can just glue everything up in there, and it'll work. And then reattach this to the fence post. It won't be exactly all the way down, up and down with it, but at the top it should be close, so I should be able to wire it up there. But yeah, and hopefully the brick is about the right height. So once I get it in there, I'm gonna put more gravel in there, because I really want to make sure it drains well, because the gravel, I want it to come up and cover this elbow. Because right now the gravel is gonna be like down here somewhere. So I want to bring up, it's gonna be tight putting the manway back in there, because it's gonna be real close to the faucet. I don't really like that, but I don't think it's the end of the world. Anyhow, I will double check my height off the brick, and if it's good, I'll go ahead and glue it, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like. All right, the faucet is in. Everything went smoothly. The only thing is it's tilted a little bit that way, which bugs me, but it's not that big of a deal. At least I'm trying to tell myself it's not. I have not turned the water on yet, so hopefully it doesn't leak. But this pipe right here, my last piece, I think I should have cut it just a little shorter. Looks good. I'll need to test it for leaks in just a little bit. All right, it's time for the moment of truth here. Let's see if this thing will leak or not. I put the hose on there so we can actually spray with it once it's on. Here's my sprayer right here. All right, here it goes. Let's turn this thing on. No water yet. That's good. Whew. Let's go ahead and check out the faucet. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I heard the water drain out down there. Turn it on. All right, I think that's all the way. Just a little drip of water there. That's probably not a big deal. Well, that's good. I'm not sure why there's like that little drip around the packing nut. I don't think it's a big deal as long as it's just a drip every so often. It also is a brand new faucet, maybe. Maybe the seals needed to moisten up. Let's get down in here, and I'll show you what it looks like when the water turns off. Yep, drains out some water right there. All right, I think it's fixed. We'll probably just let it sit overnight at least and make sure there's no leaks again, and then we will probably start backfilling, putting the gravel in and all that. All right, we've got some cold weather coming soon. I want to get this hole filled in. Last I checked, there wasn't any leakage, but I'll check again. And we need to get the gravel around it and all that good stuff and try to get it filled in and try to pack in all the undermining that we've done in a few spots. Try to get this project wrapped up. A lot of dirt to move. I put all the sheet metal on here trying to keep the rain out because we had some rain come through. We'll actually potentially have more soon, so that's another motivation to get this done so we don't have dirt running in down there in the bottom where we want all the gravel. I'm going to grab a tape measure and take some pictures so that I have a good frame of reference for future. I tried to re-angle the drain for the frost-free portion away from the T-post so it won't rust it out too quick, but I don't know if there's much I can do about that. It didn't really occur to me that it might rust out the T-post. Yeah, so the T-post is right here, and yeah, I just angled it this way. It was angled that way. Probably make zero difference, but... All right, so I think this thing is positioned fairly well, but the notches that were cut out in there are not down all the way, so I'm gonna put some tape around it. So the pipe is essentially up higher than it was before, which I don't think is an issue. I could either try to cut it off, but since I've already got gravel down there, I'm just gonna leave it the way it is and move on with life. Found some short, chunky pieces of wood. That'll probably do what I need to do to keep the gravel out. Yeah. Oh, lovely, it's raining out here now. All right, so the project is done. We have successfully filled in all the dirt. The faucet works. It doesn't really leak, but this was a bear to replace. There's so much dirt to get out of there, and then the whole situation of cutting my house water line. I didn't realize that's what it was, and trying to get all the parts in there and everything figured out and get the cutoff valve in there and working down super deep, and of course everything that led up to it with trying to rebuild the existing faucet. This was just a pain to get done, but it is done and it's behind us now. Oh, I'm so thankful for that. And it is still slightly crooked, but that doesn't matter. It'll be just fine. As always, thank you so much for clicking on this video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't be afraid to get out there and break a wrench. Try to fix something, get something done, I don't know. But more importantly, stay safe and spend time with your family. We will catch you on the next one. Go break a wrench.